to the keynote. Let me introduce our sponsor, Anna Widenius. She is the CEO of MariaDB Foundation, and we are proud to say that MariaDB Foundation is a sponsor of our event, together with HammerDB. And I don't want to do some stupid blah, blah, blah. I will just leave the word to Anna.
Thank you, guys. It's so great to be here. And hello, everyone. I can tell you straight away, honestly, that guys wanted Monty for this presentation. But since Monty was scheduled to save the world elsewhere at the moment, I told them, well, you get me instead. And now not only I'm filling in for Monty, but I also have to fill in for Steve. And the reason you are not getting a presentation on performance, I can leave you with like a cliffhanger now, is that the team has been working on performance improvement for a while now, and the latest release is going to be so great that they would like to save all the announcements for the release in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for hearing about all the new things in MariaDB performance in a few weeks from now. But what I'm going to talk to you about is a little bit of history, where we all started and how things developed, quite a lot about our vision and values, and where we stand in the current database landscape, about our alignment with MariaDB PLC and how we are jointly working on MariaDB server, and of course about the future on how we are seeing our way ahead. So let's start with past. And yeah, I'm going to be sharing quite a lot of family photos with you. So here you can see Monty and Mu, age a few months old. And in 1995, Monty started a project which developed into MySQL. His goal, as with everything he has ever done, was to build world's easiest, fastest, and most stable open source database. And when he was starting, he heard quite a lot that the world doesn't need another database. Obviously, it turned out it was not correct. The world really needed MySQL. And fun fact, the first person who was telling that to Monty was Morten Mikus, who later joined to become CEO of MySQL and brought it to the point of its ultimate glory. And yes, MySQL has become the world's most widely used open source DBMS. But I would say that its greatest strength has always been its openness. And it also became its greatest vulnerability once ownership has changed. Now I need to figure. Let's see, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how the interface works. Yes, a little bit on how I joined the picture. I was a PhD student in Uppsala University in the late 90s, early 2000, and I met this guy, David Axmark, who became my great friend. And once in a while, when I would visit David, I would hear like several blocks away from his apartment, him screaming on the phone, "No, Monty, you're wrong, Monty. It's not like that, Monty." And I was like, who is this guy, Monty, if very mild, soft-spoken David is shouting like this? So at some point, I got to meet this guy, and he didn't turn out as horrible as I thought. Actually, he turned out much worse because he offered me a job and then actually demanded that I really work. So at some point, I decided that maybe it's easier to marry him than to do all the work. Biggest mistake ever, worked kind of doubled. But we proceeded with the project, and in 2008, MySQL was acquired by Sun Microsystem, which was a great moment for us all. But then quite quickly afterwards, Oracle announced that they are buying Sun. So we were left with a next level of considerations and concerns. And on the same day that announcement was made, MariaDB was created because their concerns were quite obvious and serious ones. First one was about our own openness. If development is going to stay transparent, which was one of our main values, and the question of conflict of interests. Because a vendor that earns billions on proprietary databases cannot possibly nurture a direct open source competitor. So the realization was made that an open source database must be developed free from ownership constraints. And I'm sure by now everyone have heard about all the changes in the MySQL lately. So I'm not going to tell you too many times we were right, but we were right. Here is another family picture of Monty with his MySQL logo T-shirt and very happy Maria. I think it's from Malta in 2005. What's important for me to highlight for you is that MariaDB wasn't born out of protest for the purchase of Oracle purchasing Sun. It was born out of design and very concrete vision. The goal was never simply to protect MySQL fate. So also, of course, there was an important consideration for protecting the original core team of developers and making sure that they have environment that they can work in that is not only nurturing for their technical abilities, but also in line with their values. Our team was largely put together since late 90s, early 2000s, and I'm probably one of my greatest pride points at the moment is that most of this team is still with us, continuing with the project. So that shows that aligning people on values is really important for any technical and especially open source project to succeed. But ultimately, the idea was to design a governance model where openness couldn't quietly be reversed. And from the start, the vision was to structure it around two complementary forces. MariaDB PLC, well, it wasn't always called so, but let's call it by the present name. So MariaDB PLC, which is focusing on customers and real-world innovation, and also in getting feedback from customers in order to shape their roadmap. And MariaDB Foundation, the independent guardian ensuring that the core stays open and community-driven. It has always been designed as a very deliberate balance because we believe that freedom needs structure. And that structure is what allows us to keep evolving while never losing the trust that openness brings. And that brings us to what openness actually looks like in practice and not just in words. And MariaDB openness is not a slogan, it's an operating principle. The GPL license ensures that the core stays open and collaborative and improvements flow back to everyone, protecting the commons from being closed off. And if you ask my personal opinion, I think that GPL is probably the best license for ensuring that this model works. Sure, permissive licenses have their beauty and value, but they also allow fragmentation, and I will talk about it a little bit later. And the foundation vendor neutral governance keeps incentive aligned with community interests. Our development process is fully public. Jira, GitHub, mailing list, CI/CD, documentation, test coverage, everything is visible. And it's not a theoretical openness. The foundation reviews and integrates community pull requests. It's one of the key activities of the foundation, and we make sure that external contributions don't leave on the margins, but become part of the core MariaDB server product itself. And that's how we believe trust has to be earned by principle, practice, and protection. So now let's look how does this openness play out in today's broader database world. Let's look at the world we are living in and where MariaDB is living in and developing. First of all, relational data still underpins almost everything, about 70–80% of enterprise data spending. There are all kinds of new trends in development, but that's where we stand. Relational data is extremely important and not going anywhere. Then, of course, there is cloud. It defines reach, but then there is also on-prem, which defines all the important matters of security, sovereignty, data privacy, data protection. And an open source database must absolutely deliver on both fronts. And MariaDB is designed exactly for that balance. We are fully cloud ready and yet open for containers, hybrids, and on-prem system. Then there is AI. Everybody talks about AI nowadays. It has to be in every presentation, in every title, anything. And everyone talks about models, but models mean nothing without data, and that data is still relational. So MariaDB bridges these worlds with built-in vector capabilities, integrating AI into relational logic instead of bolting it on. MySQL. That's the roots where we started from, and it continues now under Oracle. It's extremely widely used, but it's evolving slowly. And again, recently the shift looks like in the direction that Oracle wants to make sure that their main product is not cannibalized by the open source branch, so to say. But MariaDB is built on by the original team and carries the open source torch forward with fast innovation and independent governance. Postgres. Postgres is powerful and extensible, but as I was mentioning before, when you look at permissive versus GPL licenses, both have their advantages, but permissive license allows forks and fragmentations. And also including closed sourcing them. What we believe our strength is that MariaDB offers the unified alternative. GPL license, it's coherent and guided by a single roadmap. Let's look at all those key factors of the or key aspects of the database landscape in some detail. So let's start with AI. AI is nothing without real data. I'm sure many of you have tried to do this trick of asking ChatGPT to draw a full glass of wine and then never being able to get it to do because it just can't find a picture of a full glass anywhere. It's not trained that way. So data and reliable, verifiable data means everything. And most real data is relational. That's why we built MariaDB Vector. It combines relational and vector search natively in one engine, no extra layer, no exotic stack. When technologies mature, people want them inside the database they already use. And that's what we deliver. MariaDB Vector already outperforms PostgreSQL and quite many of the dedicated vector databases in the real workload. And because it's 100% open source, it gives what Oracle billions can't buy: freedom, transparency, and trust. In short, we are not adding AI on top of data. We are fusing AI into the relational core. And again, speaking of origins and connections, let's revisit what the core actually came from. Lately, we have been using this slogan, MariaDB is the future of MySQL. And when talking to our partners and sponsors, I heard some even cooler sounding slogans from them that MariaDB is an open source version of MySQL. Or, for instance, someone was telling me that MariaDB is an upgrade from MySQL. I definitely love hearing that kind of feedback. When Oracle acquired MySQL, it inherited all the brilliance, but also a certain conflict, because it's hard to grow an open product when your main business is selling the closed one. So I would say that MySQL currently is more maintained rather than advanced, and MariaDB is the one that carries the same DNA forward by same creators and same principles of simplicity and freedom. And it's not just compatible with MySQL, it's a natural evolution. You know that migration is quite smooth. It's dropping up to 5.7, and also we take quite a lot of pride in that innovations happening faster in the MariaDB world. New agents, vector search, Oracle compatibility, cloud integrations, and so on. And extremely important key factor here is that Foundation and MariaDB PLC stay aligned, guaranteeing openness and continuity. I'd say that in essence, MariaDB became what MySQL was meant to become before ownership changed its course. But now let's look at the other open source giant, PostgreSQL, and how our philosophies differ. Postgres and MariaDB are both open source success stories, but they embody two different philosophies. Postgres BSD license gives total freedom, including the freedom to close, and that encourages diversity, and they're getting amazing results for that, but it also breeds fragmentation with forks, vendor-specific extensions, overlapping variants, and so on. While our GPA license keeps the core collaborative, improvements return to the community and not into the silos. And we prioritize predictability and pragmatism with one code base, one roadmap, one trusted steward. And in practice, that means consistent performance and governance clarity. So on the balance, I'd say that Postgres celebrates the freedom to diverge, and MariaDB safeguards the freedom to collaborate. And both approaches definitely have its value. So that was the basic setup and stage I wanted to present to you, but where we are going from here. Our roadmap focuses on keeping MariaDB at the technological frontier. Next generation features for the AI era, vector search, JSON at scale, associative arrays, parallel query, yes, it's coming, even deeper Oracle compatibility. We are continuously investing in performance, scalability, and security, which are the fundamentals that make the rest possible. And yes, cloud and on-prem. A modern database, as I said, has to work on both, and MariaDB is designed for both because open source thrives only when users have freedom for deployment. And our goal is simple: to keep MariaDB the fastest, most capable open relational database on the planet. But innovations mean little without ecosystems that carries it. And that's what the next slide, that slide is about. This is a little bit more foundation focused on what we are working with and trying to achieve. We are actively working on expanding MariaDB reach across the entire ecosystem. Enterprises, startups, public sector, individuals, universities, everything. We are deepening our partnership with cloud providers, SaaS platforms, and open source peers. You might have seen that the family of foundation sponsors is growing very fast because more and more realize the importance of supporting and collaborating with open source roots of the project. We are also scaling our university program. It's already available online, and we are working on partnerships with different universities to work on hackathons and on deploying this program in their curriculum. And it's really important for training the next generation of database developers and researchers. And we continue to support local meetups and global server fests. We have this server fests 4 times a year, usually timed with some bigger events. Next one is going to be around FOSDEM in February. Then sovereignty. MariaDB Foundation is moving from US, where it's now registered as in Delaware, to Europe. And in European level, we are aligning closely with digital sovereignty initiatives, ensuring that open data remains an achievable reality and not just a slogan. And to make that happen, we need everyone in the community involved, giving us feedback and working with us. So that brings me to my call for action for you. We have recently started a first ever full MariaDB survey. You have QR code here, and you can find it from our side, and we would love to get your feedback, so your answers will be guiding our roadmap, help us with priorities, and make sure we keep evolving for the people who really rely on us. So please take a few minutes after this session to participate. It truly would make some difference for us. And finally, none of this would be possible without our sponsors, database, including, for which I have to thank you guys deeply. Your support is what is keeping our project alive and independent and vibrant. And for any of you listening, if your company is also benefiting from MariaDB, this is your invitation to join the circle, because openness only works when everyone is contributing back. So come talk to me. And this is it. Questions?
Thank you, Anna. I think we don't have any questions. Let me see. We have no questions yet, so
Mhm.
we have
We
no
have no question,
but
but we have one from me actually.
Oh.
I'm very curious about your work with universities. Are you getting some good feedback from them? Can you tell us something more?
Oh, yes. So our university program is on GitHub, and anyone can just download it and include it as they like. But we are getting a lot of direct feedback and contacts from different universities who are asking us for deeper collaboration. And that collaboration can include our help to get the university program rolling in their systems, but especially we are very focused on hackathons now. We are now on our second one, and it's going absolutely amazing, especially if you compare numbers with the previous one we ran in spring. It was great, but we had about 12 participants, and we got some really valuable contributions out of it. But this current hackathon that we are doing a few months later had over 3,000 participants that yielded in a couple of hundred of really cool projects people are working on. And we are going to announce winners and distribute prizes provided by MariaDB PLC when we are present at Open Source India conference in November. And there are a lot of students involved there, and that's how we make sure that both students get some learning experience and especially get experience in the value of contributing into the open source project. So it's not just for us to get more contributions, but it's also for them to add something really cool and valuable to their CVs, to see that, to show that they have active GitHub participation and work on something meaningful and make them more ready for real life work. So that's the angle we are taking.
Great. Another less serious question, or maybe more serious, I don't know. Which Maria was harder to create?
Well, how do you solve a problem like Maria? Let's say neither is something that I would give up for any, gold in the road. So I don't see either as being hard, but as extremely exciting, rewarding, and something that I'm meant to be doing.
Great answer.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have more questions, I think.
And we don't have more time, so perfect.
Actually, we have like 7 minutes more, so
Yeah.
if anyone has any questions or any, I don't know, suggestions or any things that you have noticed that you would like to ask, please ask ahead. Otherwise, we're going to start wrapping this up and moving on to the next talk. So thank you, Anna, very much. It was nice having you. Thank you for sponsoring the event, first of all.
Thank you.
And I hope everyone enjoys the event.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys, and see you on stage 1 or 2 for the next talks.